So I'm happy to be here tonight, and I'm happy to report that we had a very busy spring break in the facilities department. We're able to kick off and go through 5 different projects. Some of them have been a long time in waiting, but we were able to start and complete each of them successfully. So I just put a little slideshow together because a picture's worth 1,000 words, and we'll talk about the projects that we had on hand. The 5 projects included replacement of windows at Center Elementary School. We had 2 water tank lining projects at Huckleberry School at Wisconsin Middle School. We had a floor program at Wisconsin Middle School as well that finished up an ongoing project that's been active for a couple of years. And then again, the crowning glory for the April break was the work at Huckleberry. So J&M Construction from Danbury, Connecticut was our contractor at the Center Elementary School, and that project included replacing 12 of the windows across the front of the gymnasium. Basically, the scope of work was to replace the windows, match existing conditions inside and out, a little coordination with the historic district as well to make sure that we maintain the look of the front of the building. So our contractors got off to a great start. Day 1 was nice and sunny, and they worked away hard, replacing windows, getting the new ones in place. And then it got cold on these fellas, and they struggled a little bit. But windows went in. The new windows, there are the smaller windows top and bottom. There are 16 of them that are all hinged to open and close. Matches the existing windows that were there. However, only 2 or 3 of them opened. Over the years, they'd all been screwed shut, painted shut, whatever it took to keep them from falling out. So they were in difficult repair, but they're in now and working. So there's a view across the front of the building on Sunday morning as they were wrapped up. And so I'm happy to report that this project, the price on this project was $56,000, and we were on time and under budget by $14,000 with the original $70,000 budget. So we're pleased to be able to pull that one off. The next project was a water tank lining, and that was 2 projects that we combined as one with a contractor. This was a mandated project by the state of Connecticut Department of Public Health. Atmospheric storage tanks need to be inspected, cleaned, relined at 11-year intervals. We had exceeded that timeline by quite some time, so we're bringing ourselves into compliance. So what we see here is the picture of the Wisconsin Middle School, the interior of the 10,000-gallon storage tank. And when people see these, often their comments have to do with, oh my gosh, am I drinking that water? However, what we're seeing here are just normal accumulations of silts and sediments, minerals that adhere to the side of the tank and grow as barnacles. Often it's orange and brown because of oxidation from the iron that's in the water. And our contractor on this project was Amtech LLC, an outfit out of New Hampshire. They work nationwide, and this is what they do exclusively, is clean and line tanks. So we're very happy to have them on board, and this project came in just under budget at $44,635. So the picture we see here is the front of the tank at the Wisconsin Middle School, and that small oval hole in the bottom is the manway where these fellows went inside the tank to work, and it's 22 inches wide by 16 inches high. So they all wiggle a little to get in and out of there. This is a picture of the Huckleberry tank, 10,000 gallon, same size tank, different diameters. And I do want to comment that the contractor, on more than one occasion that week, they were working 12-hour shifts. They had a 5-man crew, and it was important. We talked about logistics of these projects on the intro. We had to get the work done, have the tanks cleaned, lined, refilled, flushed, sampled, and have state approval before I could open the valve and turn the water back onto the building. So of all the projects, this was the one that was most nerve-wracking for me because there were a lot of things that had to come together all at once. So great job by our contractors involved in that. This is the exterior of the Huckleberry tank. And I also want to make a note, special thanks to Hydro Technologies. They're our water testing contractor, and in order to finish up this project, we had to get 2 rounds of testing done. The major one was for volatile organic chemicals, and that typically is a 4-day test. And our lab, Beth Dunn at Hydro, was able to get those turned around, and we got back in 3 days and 2 days, so that we were able to submit to the state. So the process involved cleaning, sandblasting, heating the tanks to remove condensation, sandblasting a second time, really high standards for cleaning of the tank for adhesion of the liner. And the lining is called a Durachem 580. It is a specific lining similar to an epoxy, except there's no VOCs in it, sprayed onto the tank, hard like an epoxy or a fiberglass finish. And that goes on, and the key here is that it meets the NSF rating, NSF 61, which is required for interfacing with potable water systems. So that is the Durachem in the water project. So next we did a flooring project at the middle school. And that project was the final phase of an ongoing project, and we did 3 sections of hallway there. We selected the hallways by those who had showed the most wear and tear. Most of our selection was based on moisture issues that had caused the tiles to raise up and not be smooth, which in turn caused for excessive wear, and the buffing machines tend to burn them. So we did the main hallway in front of the office, we did the back hallway leading to the portables, and then we also did the main hallway leading down on the music wing. So this project was done by Red Thread. They're a contractor that had done another aspect of this project earlier on, and the price of this project was $24,937, and that just about exhausted our budget on that near to the penny. We took unit pricing and we stretched out as much flooring as we could get for our money, and it worked out really well. So this is the hallways as they're stripped. Once the tiles were up, it's called shot blasting. It's basically they sandblast the floor to remove adhesives and any imperfections in the floor or leveling materials, and then they apply a thin cement type media on top to level the floor, and then we put on an epoxy moisture mitigation topping on there, and that will hold the water down and give us more longevity out of the flooring systems that we have. And here are the pictures of the finished product, and I just want to make a special thanks to Hal and Pedro, custodians at the middle school. They came in on the weekend to make sure that we had finish and floors buffed so that we could take the foot traffic on Monday when the students returned to the school. And after they finished the new floors, they looked and they said, geez, the existing floors look a little dingy, so they ran right down the hallway and they just kept the machines running. So great job from them. It's nice that they take pride in their work for us.
And Dan, can you just share the one story that Hal told about the teacher first thing in the morning on Monday, the comment?
So Monday morning, Hal met with one of the staff, and she came up and she looked at the floor, and it's often difficult to match color sets. So the new flooring is slightly lighter than the existing floor, and she came up and she commented on what a great job Hal did to clean that floor to the point that it was almost white. So he got a check. He didn't set her straight. He just thanked her for the compliment and carried on. One little addition that we did differently here on this project is at the exit doors where in the past there have been floor mats or carpets of different types, we integrated carpet tiles as a trackpad, and these are square carpet tiles put into the floor flush with the vinyl floor, and it just helps with cleanup, prevents tracking, and as they wear or are damaged, they're easily removed and replaced. We have a similar flooring system down near the gymnasium at the middle school as well. So that was the end of the flooring project. So here is the big event of the week, was the work at Huckleberry with the modular demolition and site restoration. So Nikon Supply Corp was our contractor on this project. They're out of Stratford, Connecticut, and they were the lowest qualified bid. We put some pricing on here because there's been some interest in this project of late, and I've got to put my glasses on to read this a little bit better. But our original budget on this project was $60,000, and while Nikon was our contractor, and his contract price was $16,899 to tear it down. There are other costs related to it, and that include environmental testing from Brooks Environmental. We tested the portables for lead paint, asbestos, and PCB contaminations. All tests came back negative, so we had no contaminants in the system. We also had to terminate alarm systems and electrical systems from the building so we could take them down. And we used Hanch Electric, was a local contractor we brought in to work with us on that aspect. And kind of an unforeseen expense that might not pop up are Fuller and D'Angelo, who are the on-call architects for the system. And early on in the project, they had done design work. And so we have 3 different sets of design work: $1,400, $5,493, and $12,818. And this project initially was set up for design and scope of work. It was also to incorporate, or was potentially going to incorporate, replacing modular classrooms. And then there was another final phase of design for them so we could get this project underway. So, and we had a $25 charge from American Waste for a dumpster rental. So basically, a $60,000 budget, we had $48,007 worth of expenses, and at the moment we have $11,993 left on that budget, and the building is on the ground and is just a memory at this point. So we have a couple of photos. They rolled in on Friday night, Friday the 13th at about 4:30 in the afternoon, and this was a picture at 7 o'clock in the evening. They weren't going to start until the next day, but they got a little ambitious and decided to have at it, so they started bringing it down. And then throughout the day, they processed the material on Saturday. There was nothing unexpected found above grade, but as we moved along and they got to the final end of it, and here they are all on a heap. So they processed that material, broke up into smaller pieces, loaded it in dumpsters, and hauled away, only to discover that underneath the buildings, which everybody expected was going to be soil, was an actual parking lot that was almost intact. We just back up and say this note here that the buildings themselves hauled out, and our scale weight was 61.21 tons of debris was hauled off site as part of this. So they look like little mobile homes, but they certainly had a little girth to them. We had one casualty during the project. We had a piece of debris come out and take out a window in a classroom, and so that was promptly cleaned up, boarded up, and replaced before anybody returned back to class. And this was what was hidden from us as they were cleaning up and scraping up. We found that there was asphalt, so we did have a change order to address this. We had to remove the asphalt and haul and fill to replace it, and then on top of that we spread topsoil for the finished product. And that conclude our April projects.
Thank you, Dan. Great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Busy.